Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Little for PokerNews.com, and today we have an interesting spot from a $1,000 buy-in World Series of Poker event near the bubble. When I say near the bubble, let's pretend 1,000 people get in the money and 1,300 remain. So it's not like we're on the stone bubble. We still do need to make something happen. We see average stack here was about 40,000, give or take. I only have 16,000, so we're not really in great shape. In this scenario, yes, we probably could just blind out and get in the money, but blinding out and getting in the money with 8,000 chips or 5,000 chips or something like that is not a good strategy. You have to get in there, you have to fight, you have to try to win the tournament. It's very different when there's, let's say, 1,010 people left, right? We have to outlast 10 people to get in the money. Then we're going to be in lockdown mode and we are going to collect our free cash with our 16,000 chip stack. But we are not quite there yet. So everyone folds to the button, a normal-ish player who opens to 1,800, and I'm in the big blind with 4-3 of spades. And if this was, again, like very, very, very near the bubble, I would just fold. But we're not quite there yet, so we're going to call, see a flop, and try to flop well. King 5-2, 2 spades. We're check-raising all in. There's no merit in leading here. This is a board where if I bet, my opponent should continue with a lot of hands, given he's in position, and given he should have some hands that connect well with this board. So this is a spot where I'm going to check. Ideally, he's going to bet with a lot of stuff, and I'm going to check shove all in and pray to make a straight or a flush, or a pair sometimes. But it goes check, check. Ugh. Ruins the day for me. Maybe. So now that we can't check raise the flop, should we look to check raise the turn? I think it's actually a pretty strong play, and probably the best play. Because now, if our opponent does have something like ace high or queen high or pocket sixes, they're still just going to check, but we're probably not winning the pot from those hands anyway. And like I said, we are near the bubble. So while I did say we do have to win some pots, I'm not trying to just like rip my stack in with 4 high for fun. But I do think that is probably what we need to continue doing on the turn because, again, who has more twos, right? Certainly I have more twos in my range than the button does, presumably. Not necessarily because maybe the opponent's raising very wide on the button to try to push around the short stacks, right? But this is a spot where I'm going to call ace 2, king 2, queen 2 suited, jack 2 suited, 10 2 suited, maybe not, 5 2 suited, 4 2 suited. I don't know. I'm calling some twos. I'm not sure if my opponent's opening all of those. Whenever you're facing a min raise from the big blind, by the way, you need to call with a lot of hands. I know my opponent made it 1,800 at 400, 800, so it's a hair more than a min raise. But it's still basically a min raise. So don't be super nitty, especially if you're not on the actual bubble. Anyway, I think I should be check raising all in on the turn. Because notice, if I bet, well, now if my opponent does have that ace high or queen high or pocket sixes, they get to call a lot. And then what? Am I really going to barrel the river? Whenever you are on the bubble, you really need to be quite risk averse when it comes to barreling off in spots where you're not really trying to give your stack away. And when you do have this somewhat shallow stack on the bubble, there is a lot of value in just not going broke. Again, I feel like I keep saying this, that we're not actually on the bubble yet, but when you're 300 people away with 1,000 people getting in the money, you'll sneak in the money every once in a while with this 15 big blind stack I have remaining, and that's worth something. Don't just give away your stack on the bubble. So many players, when they get shallow stacked in general, they just give it away. I don't know why they give it away, but they think I either have all the chips or I have none. And that is a very bad mindset. In this scenario, we have a pretty good amount of equity, so don't give it away. So anyway, I bet 2,000, and I think this is a mistake. I much would have preferred a check shove all in again. Obviously, if the opponent has me beat, they have me beat, and we have plenty of outs. Then something very abnormal happens. I bet 2,000, the opponent raises to 5,100. What is going on here? Most likely, the opponent just has a 2. Probably ace 2 that check back the flop, or of super nut hand like kings or 5s or maybe 2s. But those hands don't even need to raise, right? So probably the opponent just has a 2. So if the opponent has a 2, should I continue? Well, now I have to put in 3,000 chips to win 15,000. So will I get there on the river 20% of the time? And with a straight draw and, maybe half of it, with a flush draw and maybe half of a straight draw because the ace may not be good. I think I probably do need to call. If the ace does come, I'm not folding on the river. I know I could be against ace 2, but that's okay. Could also be against ace king that's just playing it weird, right? So we're getting pretty good odds. Let's just pray to get there. We do not get there. Now, this is the classic spot where a lot of recreational players decide, well, I can only win if I go all in, so I'm going to go all in. And I think that'd be a horrific mistake. In this scenario, like I said, if our opponent has a 2, he's never going to fold. If he has slow played or oddly played ace-king, he's not going to fold. If he has a boat, he's not going to fold. So we should check and then fold. It's never fun just checking and then folding. It's never fun letting him go check, and when our opponent wins with pocket 6s, we're going to feel a little bit silly. But the idea of I need to jam here because I can only win if I jam is not good logic in general, and especially not good logic on the bubble, where even with this 11 big blind stack, we do have some value. So I check, opponent goes all in, clearly we fold, and we move on with our lives. And I remember this vividly because we got in the money. We snuck in the money with something like 6 big blinds. On the bubble, I remember, under the gun raised, folds around to the big blind who shoved all in for like 25 big blinds. Under the gun, like beat him in the pot with pocket 10s. And I was thinking, what? What are these guys doing? And obviously the big blind who shoved just had aces. He's going to have there probably aces, kings, queens, jacks, maybe 10s, ace, king, maybe ace, queen suited. And under the gun had the pocket 10s. And the pocket 10s spiked on the aces, and that ended the bubble. And we collected our free min cash. When you do happen to find yourself in this scenario with a shallow stack, collect your free min cash. Don't give it away. That said, understand, all right, we're not winning this tournament anymore. We are collecting our free min cash. And it's just okay. It's kind of a bummer when you have, 1.5 or 2 starting stacks, when average stack is 8 or 9 starting stacks, right? But sometimes you just have to collect the free cash. The goal is to win as much money as possible, not win as many titles as possible, not stroke your ego, but to win as much money as possible. Because at the end of the day, that is how you win all the titles, is by staying around forever, surviving forever, and never risking going broke. And of course, we could play a much higher variance strategy that would lead to us winning the tournament more often in exchange for rarely min cashing, but collecting these cashes does add up. That said, if you find that you're never winning, if you min cash all the time, you're probably playing too tight. If you're playing too tight, well, that's another problem for another day. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let the people at Poker News know. I have plenty more videos available for you completely for free at jonathanlittlepoker.com/YouTube. I hope you enjoy them. Click like, click subscribe. I'll be back next week with another fun hand for PokerNews.com. Thanks for watching.